guys, what's up? It's Harley, and I totally forgot to film an intro for this video. So here is my February wrap-up. Hope you enjoy. So a couple of days ago, I finished A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir. This is the fourth book in the Ember and the Ashes series. And I read books 2 and 3 last year. Book 1 forever ago. So this is the final book. I've completed this series finally. I'm proud of myself for continuing on in a seamless manner with the last 3 books. Like, the time difference between book 1 and book 2 is shameful. And I probably would have enjoyed this series a lot more had I read all of them in a timely manner. This is a YA fantasy series. Personally, I feel like it's not limited to YA. I do feel like it reads a little bit older. I think it would have benefited from being written with the characters being older, because I think there are only supposed to be like 16, 17, maybe 18 in this book, and that just did not seem logical to me. So in my mind, they're like in their 20s. But as I said, this is a fantasy series. There is some like magic going on throughout the book. A couple of the characters have some kind of like magical ability, which that was one of the things that I was a little confused on, was if there was magic or not, like what were the limits of it. But I did really enjoy like the soul catcher stuff. Like that really connected with me more in this book. It did take me a while to like remember what's going on and like retain the information in my brain. Like, the only character that really stood out to me and I cared about was Helene, and it's still true to this day. I would die for her. Justice for Helene. She's been through way too much, and I just wanted her to be happy, and she just had so much suffering and I hated it. But in this book, I did start to remember things about other characters and actually care more about their storyline and how they all interwove. So I actually did really enjoy this book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I am happy that I read this series. If I ever do reread it, I'm definitely gonna have to do it physically, because I just zoned out a lot during the audiobooks, and I'm gonna have to like read them in a timely manner. Like I said, I think that would help the experience a lot. But like I said, I did enjoy how this wrapped up. I think that was all I actually wanted to say, really. So we'll end it right there. Also, a teeny tiny little update, which I will update again later. But I did start All In by Jennifer Lynn Barnes today. This is the 3rd book in the Naturals series. This is a YA like mystery thriller-ish, I guess, series. Basically, there's this group of kids and they have a certain skill set that would benefit them from like working with crimes, and the FBI kind of takes these kids and puts them in like this little group where they solve cold cases. But in this one, they are actually working on their first like active case. There's an active serial killer going around killing people, and they're involved in it, and they go to Las Vegas, which I actually really appreciate the little like location change. I think that's really nice. This one actually might end up being my favorite. I feel like it hits all the points that it needs to, and it's keeping me engaged the whole time. Like, I believe I was like 73% in, and I only have like 2 hours left. So I'm pretty much gonna finish this book in one day. So I'm gonna go do that, and I will report back on what I thought. Okay, so I'm back, and I did finish All In. The train is cursing me. I don't know if you can hear it. I did just finish All In by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I am going to be giving this one 5 stars because I really liked it. I think it's my favorite of the series so far. The ending was just like crazy and just had me like so shocked. I was just like, oh my god. I do think the change of scenery really benefited the story. I liked being somewhere else with our characters and having them involved in like a different situation. Like I said, usually they work on cold cases, but this is the first active case they've been a participant of, and and it kind of tied together quite a few different things. We had stuff going on with Sloane, stuff going on with Cassie, the one agent. Hi, Sansa. No. The one agent that's like kind of their handler. He was like involved in stuff. Even Leah, we learned like a little bit more about her and her background a bit. So I did like that it like tied it together. Sansa wants to yell at me as usual. Can I just speak real quick? But yeah, I really liked how everything tied together and how it kind of gave me a little bit of everything in this one. And like I said, the ending was crazy. It really makes me want to read the next book, like, immediately. I had a lot of fun with this book. The only complaint I had was the audiobook. The voice that she does for Dean, she gives him this southern accent, and it's like such a stereotypical southern accent, and it just throws me off every time. But literally, that is the only complaint I have. Obviously, Sansa has all kinds of complaints because she just keeps going on. So I'm going to go give them a little teeth treat to make them happy. And I will be back when I finish another book. Okay, I'm back with 2 updates. I finished The Lying Game by Sarah Shepard last night. And this was a reread for me. I read this way back in the day, and I really liked it, and I never continued on with the series for some reason. So I decided to pick this one back up again because they just added the show back to Netflix, and I absolutely loved the show. Like, season 2 is so good, and it's such a travesty that it was canceled because, like, I'm sure season 3 would have been great. So this book is about a girl named Emma, and as she's getting kicked out of her foster home for something that she didn't do, she discovers that she has possibly a twin sister. And so she messages this sister, and she's like, yeah, come see me. She gets to town, and everybody just automatically assumes that Emma is her sister, Sutton. And Sutton is nowhere to be found. So she ends up kind of taking on the role of Sutton, and somebody leaves her a note saying, play along, or you'll end up just like her. So it seems as if Sutton is dead, which you also get because, like, Sutton's spirit is kind of like haunting and tied to Emma, and she's sitting here like, what's going on? Why does this girl have my face? What's happening? She's pretending to be me now, but also, like, girl, find out what happened to me. So it seems highly, highly likely that Sutton really is dead, because otherwise I don't know how you would explain the little ghostness. I don't know. But I did think this was really fun. It captured my attention once again. It is a little dated. It does read a little young, but it was a lot of fun. So for that, I gave it 5 stars because the mystery of it all, like, really has me by the throat. I want to know what happened to Sutton. I want to know who did it, because it seems like it's like an inside job, somebody in the group, somebody that knows her. And I mean, like, Emma's theory is that they don't want to chase Emma off, and they're letting her pretend to be Sutton, because without a body, there isn't a missing person. And I'm just curious what will happen. So I am going to pick up the rest of the series. I have the second one on audio ready to go. So this is going to be the year that I read this series. And then I just finished The Storm Runner by J.C. Cervantes. This is the first book in a trilogy. It deals with Mayan mythology. So basically our main character, Zane, ends up discovering that he is a descendant from a Mayan god, and he gets entangled in this whole thing. Basically, they, like, locked up this other, I believe he was a god, maybe he's a demon, I don't know, Apuch, which, that just sounds like a really funny name. I don't know if I can be scared of him because Apuch, but he's, like, locked in this tornado, he's locked in this volcano, and only a god can free him, and Zane ends up freeing him, and it's just chaos from there. What really got me about this story is that Zane is such a dog lover. He has a dog named Rosie. She is 3-legged, got a little disability just like him. He has a shorter, weaker leg and walks with a cane. So, like, you know, they're a little disabled duo. Very early on in the book, Rosie disappears when they get attacked inside the volcano, and she disappears in like mist or smoke or something, and he finds out that she's been taken to the underworld, and he's determined to save his dog no matter what. He will make deals with anyone. He's just like, give me my dog. I need my dog. Hope my dog's doing all right. I wonder how my dog's doing. Oh my god, Rosie. And, you know, he's a kid after my own heart, okay? I love my doggies. They're all asleep around the bed right now. I would do anything for my dogs, so I feel him. But there's a little unexpected trio in this. Zane ends up going off with this girl named Brooks, who, she's like a shapeshifter. I'm a little confused what she is. She used a certain term, but because I was listening to it, I don't quite know what it is. But she can shapeshift into a hawk, so she's like in the know about gods and stuff. And then his uncle Hondo, who is kind of a mooch. He's kind of like living off his sister, Zane's mom, and a little bit of a slacker. But he really takes to all this new knowledge about Zane and gods and everything. And he's like, oh, I'm in. You need to go somewhere. Let's go. Let's hop in the car. I will drive you around. I will help you out. I'll do whatever you need me to do. He's just like an adventure. Oh my god. He actually really surprised me. I did like that. But I ended up giving this one 3 stars. I feel like it was a little young for me, which, I mean, I'm not the intended audience. Zane is 13. I did think it was a lot of fun, but like structurally, I feel like I wanted a little bit more structure from it. But if you do like mythology and are looking for something, I would suggest picking this one up, because like I said, it was fun. I just don't see myself continuing on with the series. So yeah, I gave this one 3 stars. Yep. Got my sport bottle. I'm here with an update on 2. Obviously, Sansa's gonna keep talking during this update. I have a square bottle, and it's not really working. But I am here to give an update on 2 books that I have read. The first being Sunlight by Devaney Perry. This is the sequel to Crossroads, which I read in January. And I enjoyed this book. She's trying to catch the water now. I enjoyed this book, but not as much as Crossroads. This one felt kind of insta-lovey. I mean, they kind of meet, and Jax, our love interest here, main character energy, he instantly likes her and kind of instantly falls for her. And she is interested in him, but then she finds out that he is one of the owners of the ranch that she's actually going to work at. So she instantly cuts off anything happening between them, and it kind of like flashes forward, and it's been like a couple months. She basically avoids him, and when she does see him, she's kind of a little bit rude to him, and definitely doesn't act interested in him. So that's why I'm like, is it really insta-lovey if it's been a couple months now? I don't know. Everything just felt fast. They end up establishing some kind of relationship because they hook up one night after a party, and she ends up pregnant. And that's like the premise of this whole book, an accidental pregnancy, which they have issues with it. They have issues with that word. But that is what kind of brings them together. So as I said, Jax is the brother of West in the first book, and what we know about Jax is that he was a product of an affair between his father and his mother, who was just someone that his father met at like a casino, I believe, and they just had one night together, and that was it. His mother had him and just came and dropped him off and left him, and he's never seen his mother again. So he has mother issues, to say the least, because Wes's mother was his father's wife, and she could never really forgive his affair, but she did try. I wish you guys could see Sansa. She did help raise Jax, but she refused to let him call her mom. So she's so funny. I can't. But that's a whole issue of contention between them, because she acted like his mother but would not let him call her mom, and they have their own issues. So through this pregnancy, it kind of helps to start repairing the relationship between Jax and Lily. And Sasha, our female character, she also has like some kind of secret going on. She's very much concerned with working and making enough money for some reason. She's like scraping together everything she has, and she is writing to somebody named Eddie. We don't know who Eddie is, but he's somewhere where this like counselor guy won't let her talk to him. And so you're left to think, like, is Eddie a relative? Is he a boyfriend? Is he an ex-boyfriend? Like, who is Eddie? And it literally takes the whole book to find out, like, who Eddie is. I went back and forth so many times on whether he was, like, a relative or in some kind of relationship. So I do wish that we got to find out who Eddie was, like, sooner in the book, and maybe have him play more of a role, because it does become more of a thing towards the end of the book, but I would have liked to see it, like, happen a little sooner. And like I said, I don't know, just like Jax and Sasha's relationship just felt fast, but at the same time it felt incredibly slow. I don't know, I liked it, but it was like a little frustrating reading it, so I gave that one 3 stars. Okay, I realized that I totally forgot to talk about one of my favorite books of the month, Love on the Brain by Allie Hazelwood. I read this, absolutely was obsessed with it. The book is about, if you're wondering, I got doggies. The book is about Bee, and she is a scientist. She works for a specific, like, company, but she gets an opportunity to work with people at NASA to help build a special helmet for astronauts. But the catch is that the person that she has to work with is her former nemesis, Levi. I mean, unbeknownst to him, he doesn't know that they're nemesi. Is that what you say? So she goes there and she remembers everything that he has done to her that, once again, he does not recall. And things just kind of aren't going well. Everything that, like, she needs to do her job, like, the orders get canceled. Their key cards can't get into the building. She's being left off of emails and meetings and stuff. And you think that it's Levi, like, kind of, what do I want to say? Like, he's trying to sabotage her, but he's actually innocent in all this. He is trying his best to, like, get her involved in things and to get her the stuff that she needs. But really, like, NASA's also kind of sabotaging them because they want all the credit for this. They don't want to share credit, so they're like, well, let's just ruin the whole project, which, what a rude. But Bea and Levi come to an understanding and start to work together to try to build this helmet. And she realizes that there might be some like miscommunication issues and stuff. Levi's just not good at talking to women he likes. He's really bad at it. So it came across as he hates her. And it's their romance, and I was just like obsessed. Like, you could tell that this man was into her. He was so into her. He's been in her for years. He's literally like not dated anyone since he met her. Like, he's obsessed, and I loved it. And there is somebody actually sabotaging her in her plans with this helmet, and I was a little shocked at who it turned out to be. But yeah, I absolutely love this book. I'm quickly becoming an Allie Hazelwood fan. I read The Love Hypothesis and gave that 5 stars. It was amazing. And I really love this one. I almost was going to give it 5 stars, but there was like just small little things. But I gave this one a 4.75. The next book I have to talk about is The Gingerbread Bakery by Lori Gilmore. This is book, I think, 5 in the Dream Harbor series. I only read books 1 and 2. And they weren't my favorite. I gave them both like 3 stars. I just did not connect with the characters at all. So I was planning on giving up this series, but I've heard that this one specifically is like a lot of people's favorites. And it was about 2 characters I was very interested in. So this one is about Annie and Mac. They have a very like antagonistic relationship. It's very much like enemies to lovers vibes from them. So in the first 2 books, we just always see them like kind of sniping at each other, and like it appears like they're trying to make each other jealous because like they would bring dates to things that they weren't supposed to bring dates to like irritate the other one. And so this one is their story, and I actually really liked this one. This one was definitely my favorite. I was like super obsessed with like the first half of it. I think my feelings did die down like halfway through, but I think that's because I started another book. I don't know if it's necessarily the book itself, but I absolutely was enjoying this one so much. Like, Annie and Mac's relationship was so good, and this one also goes back and forth between like the present day and the past because something happened with them in the past, and so we get to see that and see their relationships in both times. Yeah, no, I really liked Annie and Mac, and I liked them together a lot. So I'm actually really glad that I did read this one because this one was the one that intrigued me the most. I really enjoyed The Gingerbread Bakery. So basically they have a wedding that they're getting ready for, and Annie and Mac kind of like put on a truce to get through the wedding because they don't want to upset the bride and groom. And they're kind of forced a little bit into hanging out with each other because of bridesmaid, groomsmen duties. And Mac takes this opportunity to try to talk to Annie and apologize for something that he did in their past. I would definitely recommend this one out of the whole series. You can like read them separately, but they all do connect together. So, you know, take that as you will. If you like the series vibes, start with the beginning. If you just want to pick and choose, go for that as well. Totally forgot that I didn't have a rating for Gingerbread Bakery when I filmed this. I ended up deciding to give it a 4.5 because I really liked it. I'm here with a final update for February. I have a couple books to talk about, so let's just get right into it. The first book I have to talk about is Love is a War Song by Danica Nava. I'm gonna go with that's how you say her name. This is a contemporary romance. It gives strong Hannah Montana movie vibes, okay? Our main character, Avery, is a like rising pop star, but she is Native American, and her latest like music video and cover of a magazine, Sansa's yelling at me as always, cause some backlash in the Native American community, and she has to go stay with her grandmother in Oklahoma and like reconnect with her roots, as her mother would say. So she goes back there and meets the ranch hand at her grandmother's farm, Lucas, and they don't exactly hit things off, but they develop a little connection over time. So as I said, this gave strong Hannah Montana vibes. Like, she had to go back home to Tennessee to live with her grandmother while, you know, like, trying to reconnect with what made her want to be a singer in the first place. And that's like what this does. She goes home and realizes that she's just been saying yes to everything that they've been pushing on her, even if she doesn't agree with it necessarily. And she takes the time to like realize that she really wants to pursue her songwriting and not just do whatever they want her to do. And she also learns that family is very important to her. It's always just been her and her mother, and getting to know her grandmother and the family there really resonates with her, and she realizes that she really likes having a family. I thought this was really fun, and I gave it 4 stars. The next book I have to talk about is Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. And I'm going to start by saying I hated this book. I mainly picked this book because I needed a book for Michigan, because I am doing like some kind of USA challenge, but I'm calling it like a road trip challenge where I go from like state to state. And this is like one of the only books that I found for Michigan, and it was something. It's about a reporter who returns home to report on a couple murders of 2 young girls, and she's also recovering from a mental condition that has affected her, and I believe this was like her first like, I want to say case, but like, she's not a police officer, but her first job, I think, since coming out of rehab. And she returns home and reconnects with her mother and her half-sister, who she hasn't seen in years, and she discovers that the cases might be hitting a little close to home. I really disliked Camille. She was just, I don't know. I get that she has like a ton of trauma, like just trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma for her, but like, she was going out and partying with her 13-year-old sister, okay? She's a 30-year-old grown-ass woman. Why are you letting your sister, who's 13, bully you into going to a party with like high schoolers or like college-age kids, and then you are drinking with her and taking drugs with her, and then also playing like little drug kissing games with them? Like, girl, use some judgment, okay? And even later on, she like hooks up with somebody that I don't even know if he was like of age. He was either like barely of age or underage. I don't know. But like, she made a lot of bad choices in this book. And like I said, she has lots of emotional trauma. But I don't think that excuses her actions. And also, her half-sister, she may be 13-year-old, but she's a little bitch, okay? I hated her. She was so annoying. And her mother, too. Annoying. And, like, my takeaway from this book was just generational trauma. Like, starting with grandma, because we didn't go further than grandma, but grandma was giving trauma to mom was giving trauma to her children had trauma, just lots and lots of trauma. But I felt like this book was so slow, and like, we didn't really learn anything to move the plot forward to like the very end, and it was just very boring. I really hated it. I gave it 1 star. The next book I read was Lights Out by Navissa Allen, and this one I actually really enjoyed. It was really fun. I listened to the audiobook for this one, and the narration was really good, but this one's like kind of like rom-com-y with like a darker side. Our main character, Allie, sends a text to one of her hookups being like, hey, can we try this tonight? And she sends him a picture of a masked man TikTok account. And he's not really into it and kind of like breaks things off with her. Well, he ends up showing his roommate the picture, and lo and behold, the roommate is actually the guy in the photo, unbeknownst to him. So he like kind of remembers her and kind of remembers liking her a little bit. So, you know, he does a little digging and finds out that she's like commented a bunch on his videos, and he takes it upon himself to be like, well, I'm gonna see if she was serious about any of these comments. And so he breaks into her house and films a little TikTok and posts it, and she's just like, oh, I have the bedspread too, like, wanna call winky dink. And then she realizes that, oh, he was in my bedroom. She kind of likes it. She questions calling the cops, but she kind of likes it. And things escalate from there. It was really fun. I really liked both characters. I think Josh was like really funny. I love Josh. And I did like Allie. She is a trauma nurse in the ER, and that's a very like serious role. So, you know, she likes to have her little kinks on the side and let loose a little bit. And you know what? Good for her. I really liked it. I thought it was really fun. I gave it 4.5 stars. The next book I picked up was Never Have I Ever by Sarah Shepard. This is the second book in the Lion Game series, which I read the first one earlier this month, and it was a reread. This one picks up like where the last one left off. Emma is still trying to figure out what happened to Sutton, and she thinks she gets a lead in this one, and it makes a lot of sense. It ultimately doesn't go anywhere though, but it made a lot of sense, and it was fun seeing her try to like figure it out and seeing how it all connected together. And it was also really interesting how it didn't work out. Like, I was convinced these people were the ones that like did something to her sister, but they did not. And at the end of this book, there is a reveal. We do get a character coming back, and I'm excited to see what happens in the third one, because I've never finished this series. I've only read the first book, and so I have made it onto book 2, so that is progress. I'm hoping to continue on with the series. So I gave this one 4 stars. And the last book I have to talk about for February is Thorn of Rose by Emily Deedy. This is the second book, I believe, in the Fairy Tale Royals series. I've only read this one though. The series like follows different fairy tales. I know the first one was like Cinderella, and we do see a little bit of that in this one, as well as I believe the next one. It seemed like there was like a couple plot lines running through this one. So this one is Beauty and the Beast inspired, and our main character, Isabel here, she is a bookbinder, which is very interesting, and she meets our male love interest, Aiden, at this like ball, and they kind of butt heads over her favorite book. She loves the book. He didn't quite enjoy it, but she does enjoy like their discussion about it, and she like kind of works up the courage to talk to him, but then he sees somebody and goes off, and she's like, well, there went that chance. And then shortly after that, the Magi's, which are like magical users or like bad magical users, they attack, and Aiden gets caught in the crossfire and becomes the Beast. So it takes a little while before they cross paths again. I wish that like moved a little faster, because them apart was a little slow, a little dragging, but they do cross paths again. Aiden ends up fleeing his home because he doesn't want his family to have to deal with what he's become and what his fate will be, and he stumbles upon this abandoned estate and decides to stay there. Lo and behold, this estate actually belongs to Isabel's family, and she's on her way there, and that is how they re-meet. And she doesn't remember him because obviously he looks like a beast, and she never caught the name of the guy she talked to at the party. It takes him a little bit, but he does recognize her, and that's basically where their relationship starts. So She ends up letting him stay at the mansion after an initial scare when she first meets him. The bridge to town gets destroyed, so she allows him to stay at the estate until they can get it repaired. I thought this was a fun read. I only wanted like more from it though, to really like make me connect with it. I do think Isabel was a little unfair to Aiden. Like, honestly, he did nothing to really like warrant her rudeness and like judgment aside from looking like a beast. He honestly was like very well mannered and polite and really tried to be helpful. And I just felt like she was a little unjustly mean to him. Once she did start warming up to him, I did enjoy it more. And then at that point, it seemed like things like went faster. So like the beginning was really slow, and then the end kind of like moved really fast. So like I said, I just wish there was like more little scenes connecting things, more storyline. I just wanted more from this, but I did think it was fun, and I gave it 3.75 stars. And those were all the books that I read in February. So I think I did pretty decent. I read 12 books, which is really good. Consistent to last month. I like that. My favorite reads of the month would have to be All In and Love on the Brain. I thought that was really fun. Like, last month I picked 2 books. This month I picked 2 books. I don't know if this is going to be a trend, but like, I like pick my highest rated and then I pick the one I like had the most fun with. But I think I had a pretty decent reading month. I don't think I had that many like low rated reads. I think they were all pretty high. So I'm very excited for next month. I am going to be participating in a Realmathon, and I have some ideas for what I want to read. This is my first year participating in it, so we'll see how it goes. It looks really fun. I will leave a link to the video down below if you want to like check it out. But that is it for this video. I hope you guys had a good reading month, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.